know. I got kicked off there. I don't know what happened. Sometimes we get kicked off. Hi, I'm back. This is pre-show for Hollywood Hemptress Hour, and I am doing my social networking before the show, just to kind of let people know what's going on. They can watch me here, or they can listen to me on iHeartRadio. We're about, let's see, one person saw this post. I'm going to count. One person saw this. Maybe it's the hour, you know, maybe it has to do with the hour, but 280 people saw After Hours Trips Terry Does Porno. 250 people saw that. 282 people saw it. What is up with that? That is really annoys me that you can... It's always about sex, isn't it? Okay, I'm not going to argue or be unhappy that it's always about sex, but it kind of is. Oh, you know where I need to go? I need to go into the Trips forum. Okay, let's go into Trips page. All right. Oh, Jason America liked it. Oh, 2 likes. Oh, someone in Hollywood Hemptress Hour liked it. Yes. Maybe I did more than one. Okay. My group is Trips. That's where I'm working with Kevin Korn from Hardcore Entertainment. And they're coming on the show at 1. And then we're going to be doing Trips After Hours. Okay. And this is Kevin and Kevin Korn and North Flat come on the show at 1 a.m. Awesome. Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm going to get called any moment here. I'm signing into Skype. All right, we're ready to go here. We are literally about 8 minutes from showtime. Well, I am feeling a little bit nervous that I don't have anybody coming on yet with me. Okay, cool, thanks, I'll get it. Yesterday. Where's the other time? Oh, here's the other time for him. Here it is with Kevin, Robbie G, time for him. Oh, that's the other one. Okay, I'll call him on the next break. Oh, that's Casper right here. I'm going to say hi, Casper, just so he gets there. I'm going to smoke a little pot. Maybe I need to like mellow out a little bit. Let's not much in here. Oh, here's a tiny, tiny tad. I'm going to sneak a little bit. I'll have to give him a little bit of cash for this. Okay, we're gonna start in a minute. I think he's writing to me. Okay. Let's see, anything happening? Okay. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? All right, it's now 11:55, and I still don't have anything happening here. Weird. My goodness. Come on. Here we go. Oh, hello. He's there. I'm giving him like the kiss. I don't know if you want to. I guess I can show what that looks like. We're doing the whole, like, I love how Skype you have these little things that go on. That's always like really, really fun. Okay, so we're gonna start here pretty soon. Let's get a little bit of like the jitters when we're gonna get going. We're going here. I'm sure this isn't very interesting for you, but you know what? No one's even watching me right now, so I don't think it really makes any difference. 0 viewers. Someday there'll be lots of viewers. I know that. This will happen. Oh, 1 viewer. Hello. Hi. I don't know who my 1 viewer is, but I really appreciate you for watching. This is getting ready for the show. It looks like we're 3 minutes before showtime, and before the radio show starts, and none of us are really logged in yet. Like Skype has nothing happening, except I know Casper's there because he sent me a little icon, responding to me. Oh, here he is. Here we go. Here we go. We're on. Hello.
Good morning, beautiful. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Getting over the flu.
Oh my goodness.
Station and people. Danny's on first top, right?
Yes, Danny's on first, and then Robbie Jeanette is with me again too.
Okay.
So I'm sorry to hear you got. I mean, thank God you. Well, thanks for doing the show, even though you're recovering. You know.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Let's see. ROBB. ROBBIE. Robbie G. Add him. Okay. And then let's see.
Hey, is this microphone good enough?
It is. You sound better than me, Danny.
Oh, perfect.
All
Perfect.
I need to invest in a
Hey,
in,
Terry,
in
how
a
you feeling?
in a mic. I'm feeling good. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Give me just 1 second.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and mute my mic.
Okay.
Unless you need me for anything else.
No, that's okay. Thanks for doing the show. It's good to see that you're here.
I am here.
And Robbie just came on too, but he said to pause for a minute, so he should be coming back here in a second.
I wonder what he's doing right now.
And the name of the song you're going to be playing this time around is what?
The theme song is the one that says Terry theme mix one, and so that's the opener. The song for Danny is going to happen at the second break of the first hour, and that's the Beatles song.
I want to hold your hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I've got Bummer Music, The Shit, Bomb, Terry Joyce Quick Hits, Terry Joyce Time Instrumental.
Okay, so you know what? For some reason
Theme Mix 1, is that your intro?
yes, and I'm gonna have to like resend you. I'm gonna resend you their stuff, their music through Facebook.
Can you just drop it in the window here at Skype?
I can, but it seems to take a long time to upload.
Alright, so you've not sent their music yet. I thought Sasha said he had one of your songs.
I did send the music. I sent the music this afternoon to Sasha.
Alright, well then what was the name of it? Maybe he's already loaded it in.
It's I Want to Hold Your Hand is one of them, and then the second one is it's like something about penis. She loves my penis.
Okay.
Oh yes, she's in love with my penis.
Yes, she's loves my penis, and I want to hold your hand. They kind of go together, like hold penis. You know what I mean?
Where did you send this to? So I'm looking at the board op email. I don't see him there.
I sent it. I
She
sent
wants
it.
to hold my penis.
You know what? I thought I sent it to the board op. Well, hell, you know what? I'll just try to upload them here on because we still have at least for 40 minutes practically before we're gonna play the first song.
Right.
So you want me to just try to send it here, or I can just quickly send it to your Facebook? I know that the Dropbox can go to your Facebook like I did the last time.
It is 12:01.
I know, I'm getting ready to hit the live button just as soon as we get this one figured out.
Which one do you?
What
What do
I
you?
can email the summit to if you'd like.
CASPER at TIME4HEMP.com. Send it there. I'm going to go ahead and take us live now.
Okay, all right.
Alright, let's see.
Danny, do you want to go ahead and send yours there? Can you do that?
Yeah, where should I send it?
And he put it in the box. It's Casper at timeforhemp.com.
CASPER?
Yes.
At time and 4 is the
Oh,
letter.
there it is.
I see it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll email you an MP3.
Okay, thank you. And then I'll get Robbie's. We'll get Robbie's to you.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go live now.
Okay.
In the Tara Joyce theme music mix 1.
Okay.
Imagine a town where there are no small joints, just small stoneholes, where Kush is a girl's best friend, and law breaking is the new liberty. It's the Hollywood Hemptress Hour, hosted by your honey blonde Hemptress, Terry Joyce.
Welcome to Hollywood Hemptress Hour on the Time for Hemp Network at iHeartRadio. And first of all, I just want to give a shout out to Casper Leach, who started Time for Hemp. It was his own show. Casper, you're here. Can you say hi for a moment?
Well, hello and happy Wednesday. It rocks having you as part of our family.
Oh, thank you. You were actually one of the first people to ever interview me in this movement, and you just called me out of the blue, and I just now look what we're doing.
Well, I remember how talented I thought you were, and always have thought you were since meeting you. And I find you to be rather charming and vivacious in your humor. And I think people need an opportunity to have a chance to fall in love with you, as I have. And I'm hoping that that's what happens here at the Time for Him Broadcasting Network. is that people get the opportunity to get to know you and find out just how talented you are and remarkable you are as a person. So it's going to be a lot of fun having you on our team.
Oh, well, thank you. I really appreciate what you said. You know, your words. They touched. You know, thank you. I'm speechless now. No. I also, and before you go, before I move on, we also have a mutual friend, Lynette Shaw, who had one of the longest. I think she had the first dispensary in Marin County. And went through a lot of things, including the IRS basically shutting her down. Which we need to get her. I need to get her on as a guest to kind of tell her story because there's so many things that you know, in terms of like how medical marijuana has been, you know, how it's been attacked, basically from all levels, either from the IRS to our own city government, to our state government and to the federal government. It just gets got on so many different levels. And what I find interesting about this particular issue is that culturally, people want marijuana to be legal. As a matter of fact, you know, Robbie Jeanette, my host, who I'm going to introduce here in a minute, you know, said that 58% of Americans now, according to the Gallup poll, want it to be legalized across the board. And yet, it's so interesting how so many attempts have been done from every avenue to either shut people down, make them go bankrupt, put them in jail, or however, just for you know, distributing or even giving this healing plant. And so now I'm going to get off my soapbox and introduce my friend and co-host for the week, Robbie Jeanette. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing really well. And Robbie Jeanette, I'm going to say this every night because, like, I know that we probably might get a new listener or two coming in. This is actually just the third show, and I asked Robbie to do the show with me because you know, because he's really hot. No, I'm kidding. You know, really seriously, you know, I have to say, Robbie, all girls out there that are listening, he is a looker. But not only does, you know, it's true. Not only does he look good, though, he's incredibly talented and intelligent. And he also did the theme song for Hollywood Hemptress Hour, which I started about, what, 2 or 3 years ago, I think now.
Yeah. And we've done a lot of good stuff together and some fundraisers together, and also hung out in random comedy clubs and had crazy late nights. But yeah, it's always good hanging with you, Terry, and obviously talking about things that are near and dear to our heart. That 58%, that Gallup poll is pretty telling, and it kind of mirrors a lot of the other polls that have been taken, and the populace seems to be getting more comfortable with the idea of legalization. And certainly it's a huge cash crop, and you know, it goes across pretty much all kinds of boundaries, textiles and, you know, everything. Clothing, animal bedding is actually a huge business that it would be useful in. Housing products, glue, that's some sticky shit, I must say. So, you know, it's interesting because I think industrial hemp is really the even bigger business behind the recreational and medical business. But all of it's going to be a huge boon for the economy, and the sooner the better.
Yeah, you know, I think the sooner the better, especially when we seem to be having such issues with our economy right now. I could never, if they go, well, it's the number one cash crop. If it's the number one cash crop, why isn't the money being used? I feel like, well, what's wrong with us? You know.
Well, think about this though. If it's the number one cash crop, then that cash is already in the economy. So, you know, will we see the benefit of legalization for that, you know, money becoming more of a legal economy? Or is it out there and it's just going to still be out there? You know, it remains to be seen. But certainly what's going on in Washington and Colorado is going to give us examples of what it's like when it happens. And that's only going to forward things like GMOs. The minute a state starts labeling GMOs, Connecticut being, you know, the first one to really push the boundary, you know, people in other states are going to see some website will crop up, you know, here's all the products here that are labeled GMOs so you can shop in your state, and it's over, you know?
Yeah, GMOs is a big issue. What I find interesting is, you know, California had it on the ballot, this last election. I actually did some signature gathering for it, and we didn't pass it. To require
That's
grocery
great.
stores to label them, and it's on the ballot now here in Washington. And as well as California also attempted to legalize marijuana recreationally in 2009, and that didn't happen either. And yet Washington was the state to do it. You think of
I think next time it'll happen. I think it'll happen next time, and not just because attitudes have shifted, but
uh-huh.
because California's going to be damn sore that somebody else did it first, and we at least got to get up in front of Maryland or whoever else is going to be fourth, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I do have a certain feeling about why maybe it didn't pass in California. And you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna say it. We grow a lot in California, and
Yeah.
and there was an issue I think with like the growers too, not liking
Yeah.
how they may suffer on their end because they have been making a lot of cash from it. And I think that there's people
Yeah.
that are, especially when they've been dealing with the money aspect of it, they're not wanting to see it really be regulated like, like everything
Sure.
else is, booze or whatever. And in a sense, in a way, I can't blame them in a sense because there is that fear of big corporations taking over and, making it like what
But
maybe like Monsanto has done, you know.
well, the prices can drop too. I mean, the market is going to change in a lot of ways, and right now it is kind of a half black market. It's kind of a mixed race market, if you will. But it really is interesting to see that people who are in that business don't want it to change because it's going to get legal and they're going to make less money off of it. There'll be more competition.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
mean, I do, and here's the thing, like I actually did a little bit of weed trimming back last harvest season in the Emerald Triangle, and a lot of this, the storefronts that are in like the local shopping areas, that those little boutiques are, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like
Yeah.
that entire town is basically. I mean, there's it's part of California that is thriving and surviving based on
Yeah.
what is growing, whether it be legal or not legal. And
Sure.
and I find it that's fascinating. I mean, it's like weeds. It's almost like later on, I feel that there's going to be books written about this
Sure.
particular time in history. Like I always feel that cannabis in California has very much been like the gold rush, and
Yeah.
like there's been people that have moved from other states to that at one time to California because of the fact that there was a pipeline of of the energy of money.
Yeah, it's gonna be, it's gonna change in fits and starts, and sometimes there's a big tipping point, and sometimes it's little incremental steps, and you eventually inch your way there.
Yeah. So here's something
So
that I wanted to bring up. It's actually 12:12 right now. I love it when stuff like that happens. Uh,
yeah,
so one of the things that I wanted to read to our listeners that you actually sent me was uh,
I have the link in
actually,
front of me if you'd like me to give the backstory.
you know,
Sanjay Gupta, who's the doctor a lot of people know from television and whatnot, who at one point was in the running to be the Surgeon General, sorry, for Obama. He did a big research thing around the world for a documentary on cannabis and came away with a completely changed opinion on its usefulness. And one of the things that he discovered was that in 2003, our government somehow patented cannabinoids, which are the active components, some of the active components in marijuana and cannabis. It was done with the National Institute for Mental Health and the National Institutes of Health
uh-huh.
by Nobel Prize winning professors and pharmacologists, neuroscientists. And basically, the reason that they did it was that they say they found it as a neuroprotectant. Pharmaceutical compounds and compositions are useful as tissue protectants, neuroprotectants, and cardioprotectants. So they're saying that not only does it have a medical use, but it actually can protect your brain and your heart in a way that is, set into motion evidently under Clinton in '99, and it happened under Bush in 2003.
It says government has had patent for cannabinoids since 2003. So
October 7th.
yeah, yeah. And that's what I find really 2003. Let's see.
That's 10 years.
That's
10
10.
years that they've known that it has a medical reason, and it's still scheduled as Schedule 1 with no medical reason. It would take one simple lawsuit to say, hey, you can't have it both ways. Either it's a neuroprotectant, it has medical use, and you have to reschedule it, which would happen under the umbrella of an entire rescheduling of all drugs, which should be done by more modern standards that are based on things that are actually useful rather than propaganda. But, also bring this, you talk a lot about bringing this quote-unquote drug out of the, it is drug, but it's more than that, because it's also used as a sacrament and whatnot, out
Yeah.
of the shadows and out of the stigma.
Uh-huh.
And the government coming forth and saying, look, we researched this at the National Institutes of Health and Mental Health, and it actually has a lot of usefulness, and we're rescheduling it right now and putting it into use in hospitals and hospices across the country. I can only imagine that happening. I don't think that's realistic, but the science is there, their documents are there, and 10 years now they've known it as a medical use, and they have a very different face under FDA drug schedule.
Well, I find this really rather surprising, and I just want to list some of the diseases that that it says that it helps with. It's also good for ischemic infarct, which I'm not sure what that is, but it doesn't sound good. And oh, it's a heart condition. Okay. Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, human immune deficiency virus, dementia, Down syndrome, or heart disease. It's also
Stop there for a second.
Uh-huh.
It's huge. Think of this. It's protected against Alzheimer's,
Yeah.
Parkinson's, and Down syndrome,
Yeah.
and heart disease.
Mhm.
Heart disease is the #1 killer in the country. So what the government is saying is we have patented if not a cure-all, then a very, very helpful substance that can cure the #1 killer in our country, but we're not going to tell you about it. How fucking crazy is that? Pardon my French.
Well, I mean, it is crazy. I completely agree with you. And why, if they've already patented something, how come with all the different pharmaceutical drugs that get patented, do you know that? Okay, let's say your psycho, like Prozac, all right, and all the Wellbutrin, all those ones. What they do is they change one molecule and then they repatent it, and they patent things so fast because they know that because it's patented differently, they can repackage it and sell more of it. I mean, if the pharmaceutical companies are that greedy to do something like that, then why would they hold this back? Is my question.
Because this replaces a lot of that. I mean, it's as a substance, maybe they can't patent it, but you know what? You can't patent air, and you can't patent the sun, but you can damn well start a great solar business and a wind power business and utilize what is in essence a free resource. And yes, it takes more to grow cannabis or hemp than it does to harvest air or wind, but it's still a free resource technically.
Well, it's part of nature, but you know what? There have been people that have tried to say, hey, I own the winds, and here's these windmills, and this is how we're going to have energy from the wind. Well, they don't own the wind,
You can be a middleman. You can be a middleman for a lot of things in this world, but it's a lot harder to be a middleman for nature than it is to be a middleman for a patented chemical that you make in your factory.
Right. Well, You know what? I think we're getting right up on our first break right now, but we're going to come back with a couple more thoughts on this particular subject matter, and then bring our guest, Danny Shirago from the band Tuxedos. Huh?
So excited for everybody to hear and meet Danny.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm excited too. This is going to be a great show. It's already great, and we're going to be right back with Hollywood Hemptress Hour in just a moment.
playing funny PSAs since we don't have ads from you. Check this one out.
Okay.
I'm not a doctor, but I've seen one on TV. And no one is immune from everyday aches and pains. But what about the times you've caused the pain yourself? You've hit your thumb with a hammer. You've stepped on a rake. You've slammed your head in the car door. Again. Now, for the extra pain caused by doing something incredibly stupid, there's new Imbisol. Only Imbisol provides fast relief from the special pain of being a mindless clod. Imbisol. Because it hurts to be a jerk. Also try Imbisol Jr.
President George Bush, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas.
Many famous Americans,
Vice President
including
Thomas.
prominent conservatives, have
Author
used
Thomas.
marijuana. None were
Clarence Thomas used marijuana?
successful.
Wow.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So Casper, did you get
Of a
that MP3 from Danny?
No, but it looks like maybe Sasha May had. Looks like he tried to upload a song called "I Want to Hold Your Hand" or something like that.
That's it.
I just gonna see if I could re-upload it.
Okay. And then the next one is She Loves My Penis.
Ruling this country.
Hold on.
Barack Obama said this week that he's tried drugs and it barely got a mention in the newspapers. But remember the uproar that cost Douglas Ginsburg his Supreme Court nomination over the disclosure that he smoked marijuana. And this from 1992.
When I was in England, I experimented with marijuana a time or two, and I didn't like it, and didn't inhale, and never tried it again.
How did he know he didn't like it if he didn't inhale? I'm sorry, you can't go back to that. But four Democrats were falling all over each other to admit trying pie.
Which of you are ready to admit to having used marijuana in the past?
Nothing has arrived to my to my email box yet.
Oh, okay. You know what? What if I've got it on my computer. If I played it on my computer, would that still be okay? Or no, it wouldn't sound as good.
I don't know. We've never tried playing it from your end before, but we can try.
Yeah, I've got it in my downloads. So
If the file is it, can't you just attach it to an email and send it to me?
yeah, you know what? I'm gonna give it. Yeah, I can send it to you. I did it the last time through Dropbox, but I'll try to pull it up here on Skype. Let me give it a shot.
Well, can't you just attach it to an email, send it to Casper@timeforhemp.com? It should just arrive right there.
That's what I did.
That address? Did you copy and paste that address?
Sure did.
Because I don't know why it's not arriving.
Oh, the fucking internet must be high.
Don't damn me.
I said internet must be high.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Did it go into your spam?
No, my spam box is empty, so
Okay.
So it didn't go in there by accident. I'm getting ready to do another 2-minute PSA while we wrestle with this, and then we'll come back.
Okay, I'm gonna also I'm gonna give it a shot with my Dropbox and just send it to you.
Okay.
Which I know I can do.
But I do have the first one that it looks like. I Want to Hold Your Hand did get uploaded and it is ready to play.
Awesome. Oh, yay. Okay, great.
So do you want to play it and then go into meeting Danny, or talk to Danny and then?
No, and then we're gonna actually talk to Danny first, and then I'll cue you into playing it. Yeah. And I'm sending this to you again, Casper. So you're gonna get something from me that's gonna have Robbie's. She's in love with my penis. Okay. Shirley. I'm just going to do it again, just one more time, just to...
Alright, well, it shows that it loaded up into my song, but I don't find it here. And there's something wrong with this. Let's see, uploaded. Why is this not? Okay, let me just go ahead and delete it and re-upload it. Alright, let's see. Music. Upload. Music. I Want to Hold Your Hand. So, it's re-uploading again.
Our doctors can prescribe cocaine for patients, but not marijuana. This
Okay,
is
we're coming back. I'll let you know when it uploads.
information and
Okay.
stop this absurd war. Call the Marijuana Policy Project. 202-462-5747.
Time for Hemp is an educational tool that can be found in iTunes, on Spreaker, and of course at timeforhemp.com.
Hi, this is Terry Joyce. And all right, I jumped the gun a little bit there for a moment. This is I'm like, hi. Oh, okay. There's music. This is you're listening to Hollywood Hemptress Hour. We are on Time for Hemp on iHeartRadio. I'm with my co-host Robbie Jeanette. And
Yes,
hi, and we were, within our last discussion, talking about this patent that happened in 2003, where cannabinoids were actually patented. And I just want to give like one final point on this and talk about it a little bit. I don't know if you remember when Obama came into office, but right after he won his first term, Eric Holder, if you like within the same year, announced that he asked the federal government, the feds, to stop raiding the dispensaries in California, specifically, and said that as long as they're following state guidelines, please, hands off. If they're becoming illegal, we'll fine. Then you have a reason to go in. But in 2011, kind of like almost at the same time that Occupy broke out. I mean, we're talking within a month of that. All of a sudden, Eric Holder reannounces with the Cole memo that they had found marijuana to have no medicinal value, and that it was a dangerous drug, and that the state of California was no longer going to be protected from being raided at any time, by the federal government, because it's null and void at this point. And people were very well. I for one was quite upset, and I actually did a protest when Occupy was happening. As a matter of fact, there was a point, and I did this with Dejay Kuti, who's, Dejay from the Patient Advocacy Network. We're going to have her on the show here very, very soon. We're sitting there. There was basically the two of us until everybody else joined us. And we were right in front of the federal building. And like at one point, like all these like freaking cops just like come behind us, like riot cops, like just marching behind us. And I was just we have pictures of it. I mean, I froze. I went, no, they're not coming for us. And no, they went to go arrest some of the protesters, including a monk over by Occupy. But it was just kind of this funny moment. But we really got involved with Occupy, and we called it Occupy 420. And we were getting signatures to send to Governor Brown to act against that and say, no, please ask to have our state protected. That this isn't fair. So my point is, and I know I'm doing this in a really roundabout way within storytelling, with this article, if they knew that, if they had a patent for it, they had a patent for it in 2003 to be patented for a medicine or a treatment or, a drug, then how could they stand, how could the feds, how could they stand and say and tell us that it has no medicinal value? How could they do this? A blatant lie, and then why? What is, again, I always ask why.
Because reality has a liberal bias, in the words of Stephen Colbert. When the Schaefer Commission, which was commissioned by Nixon, came to him and said, basically, look, this stuff is, it doesn't warrant the illegality of it, and it's really not that bad, Nixon turned around and went hard on the war on drugs and shelved it because it was the cocktail of the anti-war movement. It was a sign of peace and love, and screw those damn hippies. In a way, I mean, maybe I'm generalizing, and I'm not inside of Nixon's brain, but all signs point to him basically ignoring the results of this commission. And it'd be as easy for any sitting president to just say, this commission did all this research. We're at the very least going to ratify that at this point, 40 years later. It'll be interesting to see what makes things change, what actually tips it to where marijuana gets rescheduled or gets approved for medical use. Anything that happens on that nature, it's going to be a big day, and it's going to be a sea change. And 10 years from now, you may be having a different discussion with your kids about herb,
Yeah.
under the draconian drug laws.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I do believe that we will. I mean, I do believe. I mean, that this plant's going to be free, and we're getting closer and closer to making that happen. And also, just in the sense with like, why can't we decide, what goes into our body? Like, why can't we decide what kind of treatment, how we want to heal ourselves?
Well,
That
that's
we only
very
get one
libertarian.
choice.
Yeah, it's a very libertarian, way to be and way to think, and that's great. We do and we should be free to even harm ourselves with ingesting, drugs if we want to, and just, obviously want to reduce harm to other people. If you sit in your house and get all effed up on crocodile, that new freaking brain melting drug, whatever.
Oh yeah, I'm just beginning to hear about that. There's these hideous pictures of people's feet just rotting away. I mean, what?
Who does that? Who wants to do that? Who
Right,
says, man, that's cool.
right. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, anything that.
I go back to what I said yesterday, and this may be a good point to bring Danny Shirago in on.
Uh-huh.
That every musical artist that has killed themselves via all the hardest drugs, heroin overdoses, and all that kind of stuff, had they just smoked weed, they would have A, stayed alive, and B, made more interesting music. Maybe a little acid. Nobody overdoses on acid, do they? I'm going to go down a path.
Well, I mean,
Danny, what do you think?
What, does anybody ever overdose on acid?
I don't think I've ever heard of that happening, but you could go down.
Their heart seizes and they go into convulsions and they keel over. No, I think people have definitely destroyed their brains on it though.
yeah.
So, how you doing, Danny? Welcome.
Hi, Danny.
Thank you. Hi guys, how you doing?
Good. This is just for our listeners. This is Danny Shirago. He is with the Fuxitos.
Yes.
So, and I love the fact that we've had in my first two shows have musicians on it. And so thank you so much for doing the show. You're a friend. I've met you through Robbie Jeanette. So, how far do you guys go back?
13th century actually.
The Renaissance.
We shared a fief together in what later became known as Belgium.
Well, I'll tell you, the first time that I ever saw Danny, our friend Wes Stiles was playing with him and said to me, "You got to come see the show. This guy that I'm playing with, he's the most committed stage performer you've ever seen." I was like, "Okay, I got to see it." And sure enough, at that show, I remember Danny literally leaping off the stage onto a table in the front and just like breaking the wall between the stage and the crowd, and it really left an impact. And musically and theatrically, there's something to be said about getting on stage and taking people's expectations and just stomping them into oblivion. And Danny, I love what you do. So
Thank you, Robbie.
yeah, I hope everybody can see it out there.
And you know what, Robbie? I mean, you're similar. I mean, you were doing an entire kind of very fun show, the
Well,
heavy metal happy hour.
What Danny does is really unique. I mean, I do when I play with Rudy now and stuff, and do a lot of funky stuff. I wear my flared pants and whatever. But Danny, I mean, he did a space rock opera at the show that I saw not long ago, and had a most amazing costume, and the band all dresses up. I mean, Danny puts on a show like that. It's got to be seen to be believed, because you get to the end of a show that you can't describe what just happened because too much stuff went on. You know what I mean?
Overstimulation.
Yeah, it's great. It scrambles your brain a little bit, and that's great. That's the kind of entertainment we need. You go see, a Taylor Swift show or whatever. You know what you're gonna get, and maybe you were titillated a little bit, but it was mechanical.
Yeah.
He's probably his biggest influence, actually. I should add.
Your biggest influence is
I
Taylor
was
Swift.
nothing before Taylor Swift and Sid Barrett. I actually like to play them both at the same time, one in each ear. It's a pretty amazing hybrid that happens.
Well, Danny, you always now I've known you many years now, and you've always been a very not just politically aware, but almost sociologically aware person. And I'm wondering if you could just you've always had a certain eye on humanity that I've appreciated. Where did you kind of start being interested and start getting yourself educated in what's going on in the world, and what really kind of flipped your switch?
Why, thank you, Robbie. Yeah, I would say I definitely have an eye on humanity. It's sort of a predatory eye at this point. It's an eye. I think I was real transition for me happened when I got involved in anti-war politics down at UC Santa Barbara, or actually up at UC Santa Barbara. And I think at that point, I got radicalized, and I went from being, again, this good little liberal Democrat into someone who no longer really believed in the Democratic Party as a whole, who really believed that things needed to change in a radical way, in a revolutionary way.
Danny, what year was this that you did that?
Myself. Was anyone listening?
You know what? I mean, I don't know. Don't worry about it because I'm just curious about the era that this was happening.
Late 13th century.
Late 13th. Okay, but who?
This was the original Gulf War. This was the Iraq debacle, the prequel.
Okay, so this is like 90s.
Yes, this was the early 90s, believe it or not.
Okay.
And again, it's like I had a lot of misconceptions, and I would say, looking back myself, sort of a lot of naivete about the United States government and about the Democratic Party as well. You know, it really came home for me in the '92 election because, first of all, I was shocked that the first Bush was defeated because the rally around the flag effect pretty much ensures that when somebody goes to war, their popular support will surge, and that's what happened. But he kind of blew it, which is he invaded Iraq, bombed the shit out of the place too early. So he peaked too early, and by the time the election came around, people had turned against him. Of course, it had nothing to do with the fact that he was killing hundreds of thousands of people in the Middle East. It had to do with taxes. But nevertheless, he lost. And I voted for Clinton in '92. And I voted for Clinton, and I was already becoming pretty radical, but I just despised George Bush to such a tremendous extent that I could not bear to look at his pasty wasps.
Sure, but it's kind of like that happened again with Obama, right? I mean, we despised the Junior Bush so much that we're like, oh, anything's got to look better, and so the liberal person just looks like a fresh drink of water in a dry desert.
Correct. Yeah, you're describing as liberal because it turned out that Clinton was anything but. He had this inauguration that was very inspiring. He had, I believe it was Maya Angelou had to speak at the inauguration. It just seemed like everything was turning a corner, and literally 12 years of Reagan-Bush had preceded that. And that's all I had known. So to see what seemed like this shining moment, I thought, well, maybe there's hope. And then to watch the guy take the Democratic Party not only away from the center, that's really where it fundamentally sits, but to the right. I mean, a lot of Democrats seem to have no clue about the Clinton presidency, no clue about NAFTA and GATT and the weekly bombings of Iraq and the fact that the gigantic bloated military budget wasn't cut a bit.
Yeah.
They were closing bases, but they were not cutting funding. It was more like sort of just downsizing troops.
Well, they did that with the government shutdown. I mean, of all things, the military still got paid, and I had to point that out.
The military will always get paid. And when I say the military, I'm not talking about the poor bum who's trying to get his post-traumatic stress treated. I'm talking about it is the business of this country. The business of this country is war, and our economy is addicted to war. And it doesn't matter whether you get a Democrat or a Republican, and that is simply not going to change. The differences between the parties to me, and I know I'm kind of preceding our second hour, right? Yeah. But the differences
don't worry about it.
To me, they are there, but I would say they're more cosmetic. When it comes to fundamental things like empire, war, capitalism, you're not going to see any major differences as a whole. You'll see exceptions, but that's about it.
So knowing that
Okay, you guys, I'm gonna have to interrupt here for a moment. We do need to take a break. We are at the break point. We're gonna be right back, continuing this conversation, and also we're going to play a little bit of Danny's music. So stay tuned.
Yeah, and I'm gonna smoke a joint with Sanjay Gupta right now. So.
Nice. Right on.
Others.
Thanks. Yeah, really nice.
Okay, both of your songs are ready to play.
Okay. Okay, great. So, I'll segue. Let's say we're going to be back in 4 minutes. Let's kind of wrap this up a little bit. Focus on Danny again on the creative, fun-spirited way, and then play a song.
Not the angry political guy.
And then we'll bring it, and then the second hour is all it's where we can be as political as we want to, because that we don't want to peak before we bring our other two guests on.
I don't want George Bush it.
Yeah.
Now, I found a great quote from from Richard M. Nixon in my files. It's about 40
Please.
seconds. You want me to use that as your roll-in?
Absolutely, that'd be great.
Do it.
It's him saying how they gotta fund the drug war.
Oh,
Yes.
I love it.
Uh,
I mean, I don't love it, but you know, I love it.
I know.
Hey, he's way more liberal than your average Democrat these days.
Yeah, for sure.
No joke. Well, Danny, to wrap this topic up when we come back in,
Yeah.
you know, what systemically can affect change that can knock it back towards the center or towards down? To me, the center is a place of balance. So to look at left, right in terms of those cosmetic issues, past where balance exists.
I got a question. How about if I do a funny song about the need for medication as a commercial, and then that'll be the end of your commercials?
Okay. Oh yeah,
Sure.
that's fine. Sure.
It's called Me Oh My Shit. I
Okay.
found it from an English comedian group.
Well, don't discard the Nixon for at some point. I want to hear that.
I know just as soon as we're done with this song, then I'll play the Nixon thing as you roll it.
Okay.
Not of the dead.
But I keep trying to find funny stuff to use as your commercial breaks until you get ads, Tara.
Oh, I'm gonna start working on it right away.
But this one, at least you know what I'm doing with your breaks. I'm trying to add to your show.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Nice.
Oh, so I hit the word play.
Thank you for listening. My name's Adam Kay.
And my name's Simon Biswas.
This album is sponsored by Snacksodelithkline, who have asked us to say a few words about their new drug, paracetamoxifruzi-bendroneomycin. Paracetamoxifruzi-bendroneomycin. It's our brand new wonder drug we think you'll find enticing. Paracetamoxifruzi-bendroneomycin. The BNF has 20,000 different drugs to take, so with the rock we produced it gives you all a break. A drug that can treat anything from leprosy to SARS, and you can give it in the mouth, IV or up the arse. It's paracetamoxifruzi-bendroneomycin. Paracetamoxifruzi-bendroneomycin. It can cure the common cold and being struck by lightning. Paracetamoxifruzi-bendroneomycin. We tested it on animals and none of them survived, but that's okay because when we wrote the paper up we lied. It's first choice for MIMS and even for ME and COPD, HIV, PE and DVT. Paracetamoxifruzi-bendroneomycin. Paracetamoxifruzi-bendroneomycin. It reverses impotence and makes you good at fighting. Paracetamoxifruzi-bendroneomycin. There are some minor side effects and some are not that rare, like nausea, vomiting, and losing all your hair, and heart attacks becoming gay and growing extra breasts. But it's fucking cheap and hey, this is the NHS. Paracetamoxifruzi-bendroneomycin. Paracetamoxifruzi-bendroneomycin. There are cures for everything from AIDS to pubic lice in Paracetamoxifruzi-bendroneomycin. Paracetamoxifruzi-bendroneomycin. We make it from the cerebellar cortex of a bison. After that it undergoes some polygenic splicing. Paracetamoxifruzi-bendroneomycin. Paracetamoxifruzi-bendroneomycin. It makes you smart as Einstein and as muscular as Tyson. It brings an end to all that pharmacology revising. Paracetamoxifruzi-bendroneomycin. Paracetamoxifruzi-bendroneomycin. We sell lots in Japan because it's the antidote to ricin. The Minister of Health we hear will shortly be advising. Take paracetamoxifruzi-bendroneomycin.
Education and information. See what all the buzz is all about. It's time for him. It's time for him.
I talked to the people from New York State. I realized the need for money to deal with this problem. I am glad that in this administration we have increased the amount of money for handling the problem of dangerous drugs sevenfold. It will be $600 billion this year. More money will be needed in the future. I want to say, however, that despite our budget problems, To the extent money can help in meeting the problem of dangerous drugs, it will be available. This is one area where you cannot have budget cuts because
Do you like my
we must
contribution to
wage
your
war
show?
I love it.
against public enemy
Thank
number
you.
in the United States, the problem of dangerous drugs.
All right, Sean.
Yuck.
Wow.
Ah.
Solves drugs like money.
Can you, like we need the money to stop these dangerous drugs. We need the money. We need the money. You know what? I have a thought on that. I've always wondered about the Nixon administration and, what drugs they made class 1 drugs. And, it's marijuana, it's LSD, it's all the things that the people took that were part of the hippie movement, they called the hippies, that were protesting against the war. I think that's the real motivation about what he just did. And what's interesting, there's a picture of him with Elvis. Bloated Elvis, becoming like I guess he's getting like an award, like a special DEA something, agent for the drug war, and he died on a toilet from from drugs.
Well, think about this, Terry. They outlawed all of the consciousness expanding drugs, and if you pop pills, you're all right. If you take pharmaceuticals, you're all right because that's, you're paying the middleman. You're not just smoking a plant.
Yeah, old tricky dick. I have to keep saying that. I am, anyway. So we're back with Hollywood Hemptress Hour on the Time for Hemp station on iHeartRadio. I've got my co-host Robbie Jeanette from the band Rudy and Danny, huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey.
And Danny Shirago from the Fuxitos. And so thank you so much for being here. Danny, I'm going to switch gears here because we don't have like a whole time left for the first hour, but hopefully you're going to stay for the second because we're going to continue this conversation and have a couple other guests join us, North Flat Forksgren and Kevin Korn. I always have a hard time with it. Yeah. So and we're going to continue our conversation for the second hour. But I wanted to hear more about your band, and also we do want to play one of your songs. So can you let us know and set us up? This is actually a Beatles tune, which we're all kind of talking about the whole era, which is really cool. What inspired you to do a cover of the Beatles, and how was it incorporated into your show?
Well, what can I say? I like to slaughter the sacred cows. It doesn't get more sacred than the Beatles, and I Want to Hold Your Hand actually was their original, I think the hit that really launched them as an sensation. So of course I had to fuck it up beyond recognition.
What's kind of schizophrenic, your take on it, and you've done this, I think, with a couple of other tunes, but, the way that it kind of constantly changes up, it lets you know two things. One, that you're absolutely a mad genius, but two, that, a song will translate no matter what genre you apply it to if it's a good song.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. That wasn't my point, but it is a good point.
Well, I like to make points for you anytime I can.
So, well, let's...
I look, you asked me about the band, and the elevator answer to describe what the Tuxedos is, to me, is surreally comedic, theatrical, punky art rock. That's in a nutshell what we do. But honestly, I came to realize over the years that my persona as an artist is that of the trickster archetype. And tricksters like to play around a little bit. Tricksters like to speak. Tricksters like to take things and distort and twist and hold perhaps heroes up to things. So that colors my approach in a very general way, I would say.
Oh my God! I'm gonna ask you if you will send me some, if you have any videos on YouTube, because when I social network this show, I would love to have the visual for people to see.
Sure. The only problem is half my band doesn't show up on film for some reason. I can't figure it out.
Really?
But Fuxidos, for all the people listening out there, Fuxidos is Fuxedos, like tuxedos with an F, which is great.
Thank you. In fact, if you do want to check us out online, you can go to fuxedos.com, which again is Fuxedos, and that'll actually redirect you to our Facebook page, and from there you can find all our various sites and what have you.
Oh, how wonderful! Thank you. All right, so.
I recommend the what have you in particular.
It's like you go to Bed Bath & Beyond and say, I'd like some Beyond.
Yeah, or you go to Wings and Things and just say, I'd like things. And then
Yeah.
forever at that point.
I'm getting more and more curious about the show. I can't wait. I hope to see you live, actually. That would be
You're up in
great.
Portland, I hear. Is that correct?
Right now I'm actually in Washington, but I'm right next to the border of Portland, Oregon, and but you know what? I mean, I'm definitely going to be back in Los Angeles, and I expect to maybe even have like moments of extended stay, like a couple months or 3 months while I'm down there. So that's my that's my that's my goal. So, but anyway, let's play that song. Let's play the song. We're getting before we run out of time here with the first segment because we have to like kind of pop off around the 5 minutes till the hour. So, can we let's go ahead and hear I want to hold your hand.
Let's give it a spin, kids. Oh yeah, I wanna tell you something. I think you'll understand when I say that something. I wanna hold your hand. One, two, three, four. Hold on, hold your hand. Hold your hand. Oh please, say it to me. You'll let me be your man. Oh please, say it to me. You'll let me hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand, so let me hold your hand. Will I touch you? Happy inside, just such a feeling of love. I can't hide, I can't hide, I can't hide. You go easy, seems to me. You let me be your man, and please say to me, you let me hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand, so let me hold your hand. And when I touch you, I feel happy inside. It's such a feeling that my love I can't hide, I can't hide, I can't hide. Oh, please, say to me, you let me be your man. Please, say to me, you let me be your man. I wanna hold your hand now, so let me hold your hand. I wanna hold your
Oh my. Oh my God.
How's
Uh,
that?
I mean, my.
was that saying backwards?
You know, I can't even remember. At one point I was saying Los Angeles. No, what was I saying? Slauson sausages at one point. And I think at another point I said Satan is groovy, but honestly I can't remember where I put each thing.
Oh my God, you really did have a satanic message. That's funny.
Yeah, Satan is buttery.
To the end. That was just fucking pure genius.
It was genius.
But Bernard's not supposed to jump in and say something. That was fantastic.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, it really. My third eye orgasm.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I think it popped my chakra open. It was like something I've never heard before.
Needle erection.
I'm a happy woman right now, Danny. Thank you so much.
Wow. The power of music.
Well, yeah, and it's amazing. Do you mind if we played it again at some point?
No, I don't mind at all. I could even arrange for an additional tune if you'd like.
That would be
Just
great.
Just let me know.
Okay, and again, it'd be wonderful to have you come back and sit in on some of the topics and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. That would be wonderful. So actually, we are going to sign out here. We're at the end of the our first hour. We're going to come back with the Freedom of Joy segment, and this is where we go into. We're going to continue our topic about the Democrats and how they were in the past, what they are now, and what direction we feel that they need to go in, as well as the Republicans, and let's kind of talk about both parties. And now we'll be back. So stay tuned.
I'm gonna do a Beatles PSA right now, just for shits and giggles. Check this out for just good timing.
That sounds perfect. I've done LSD. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
In the Beatles anthology, Paul McCartney, then George Harrison, then Ringo Starr, then their agent Mel Evans spoke about the Beatles' use of marijuana.
The climate was influenced by the psychedelic era, as you want to call it. I think the only difference about talking honestly about that period is that now the drug scene is a much heavier thing. And if you're now in any way seen to incite or advocate drug taking, you're now talking about crack, you're now talking about glue sniffing, you're now talking about life-threatening things. So I don't actually like doing it because of that. It can easily be misconceived. If you could get back to the period and everyone could understand how the period was and kind of how innocent it was, then it is easier to talk about it.
It mightn't have affected creativity for other people. I know it did for us, and it did for me. I mean, the first thing, that people who smoked marijuana and were into music is that somehow it focuses your attention better on the music, and so you can hear it clearer. Well, that's how it appeared to be. You can see things, or you could see things much different. I mean, LSD was something else, it wasn't just, marijuana was just like having a couple of beers, really, but LSD was more like going to the moon.
We found out very early on that, if you played stoned or derelict in any way, it was really shitty music, So we would have the experiences and then bring that into the music later.
Famous old story of one of the cleaners at the Hammersmith Odeon saying, "You see, that Ray Charles must be a mean git, He said, "I just saw two of his musicians in the toilets sharing a cigarette. He can't pay them anything."
So I knew that the boys smoked pot, and then they equally knew that I disapproved. And they never did in front of me. They would always have Mel roll them a joint, and they'd nip out into the canteen and lock it, or else go into the loo and have a smoke and come back again, beaming all over their faces.
I mainly wrote in the afternoons. I'd either go to John's house or he'd come to mine. So I'd sort of drive out to Weybridge. Now, you don't want to be stoned doing that, So we'd go out and we'd have an afternoon of it. And it would be later listening in the evening, that the little wine might come out and this and that might come out. But I say, it's very difficult for me because now being a father of 4 kids, that if I make this sound as exciting as it was,
the natural corollary is for someone to sort of say, well, why don't we write like that? And I don't want to be seen to do that, because now, as I say, it's a much more dangerous ballgame.
This may sound strange, but I want to pay taxes. See, I don't drink alcohol or smoke cigarettes. I relax with something science has proven is much safer, marijuana. And I want to buy it somewhere that charges taxes to
It will be coming back in about 30 seconds.
just like
Okay.
tobacco. What do you think should profit? Are schools and roads or drug dealers?
Visit the marijuana.
Did you like that Beatle thing?
I loved it.
Yeah, that's great.
Only problem was John Lennon was shooting heroin as well.
Hi, this is Willie Nelson. Alcohol prohibition didn't work in the 1920s, and marijuana prohibition isn't working today. It's time we stopped arresting responsible marijuana smokers. It's the fair thing to do.
For more information, contact NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. Call toll-free 888-67-NORML or visit their website at norml.org.
Okay, you're coming back in 10 seconds. When the music stops, just start talking.
Okay. We're back with Hollywood Hemptress Hour on Time for Hemp, on the Time for Hemp Network, on iHeartRadio. And right now we are going to do the Freedom of Choice portion of the Hollywood Hemptress Hour. And that means that it's freedom to discuss any topic that we want to, and just be as free about it as we want. And I'd like to we have a new person on the, I want to introduce the show. This is my friend Kevin Korn from Hardcore Entertainment. Welcome to the show, Kevin.
Yeah, hey, how's it going, guys?
And also I've got my co-host Robbie Jeanette, if you're joining us now. Yeah, and then also we have Danny Shirago with the Fuxitos. And that's at... So, we were kind of discussing the two different political parties, which, are kind of like, one party seems to be getting in hot water right now, in terms of the media, and being pointed as the bad guy in terms of holding this, holding the show for our health care. But we were talking about the Democratic Party with Danny, and also, your anti-Gulf War protesting and how you came about in realizing that that what you thought was liberal and what you thought was Democrat really wasn't Democrat. Am I right on that perception, Danny?
Well, they're definitely called the Democratic Party, but I wouldn't say that they're particularly democratic.
So, but how far does liberalism and populism overlap when you're talking about it in the general?
I don't know about populism. I think that in many ways that the general populace is probably more to the left of where people typically perceive them. But to me, here's kind of a distinction. Some people view it like this. So the left you are, the more liberal you are. The more to the right you are, the more conservative you are. But that's not actually accurate. Liberal and conservative are really kind of different sides of the center. And when you start to go to the left of what's liberal, you get into more radical ideas and ideas that basically, for example, I don't think voting for any major party candidate is ever really going to result in any kind of substantive difference. It's just not.
Unless somebody comes in and takes control of the ship and an insurgent candidate gets voted in,
It's not going to happen because there's so much that goes into those candidates becoming viable candidates. The main corrupting influence in the American political system is, of course, money. I mean, that's, anyone who's paying attention knows that. So nobody in the position of that Barack Obama or Bill Clinton or Jimmy Carter even, nobody gets into that position without shaking hands with the devil. It simply doesn't happen. They might have to listen to, in a very small way, to the populace. But that's primarily not who's controlling the.
But isn't our democracy truly set up that people have the power, and it's only maybe because they have somehow forgotten or disacknowledged that they have the power to utilize the rules of democracy to affect change, where they feel our government's broken and it doesn't work for me, rather than why don't I work for me? Why don't we work for us?
Well, I mean, what I would say to that is that I just think that the major changes that have happened, I'm not talking about either vote being indifferent and apathetic. What way I see it is the major changes, the fact that we are voting, the fact that Terry can vote, that didn't happen because of voting. It happened because people got in the streets and raised fucking hell. People organize, people demonstrate, people rebel, people revolt. There's not only violent revolution. You can enact revolution in non-violent ways.
It looked like Occupy was going to be that, but I think the whole surveillance state, I think, really pushed that down, because then everybody felt like, wow, we can't really collude, we can't really talk about this,
They cracked on in a pretty substantial way, and actually in a pretty concerted way. When you know, the Occupy movement was basically crushed at the same time in various places around the country.
Yeah.
But, and the police forces in general, they're very militarized at this point. They weren't always like that, but they are now. They have military tactics, they have military technologies, military weapons, and they're inclined to use them, frankly. But we're not done here. History is not over. Right? You never know. Look, the 60s came out of the 1950s, one of the most repressive times in this nation's history. So every time that there's constriction, there's bound to be people trying to explode in response.
So how do the people unite and finally affect change? Don't they have to be aware and not be sheeple and idiots and be, it's almost like we all in our democracy have power as the people, but the less we're taught civics and the less that we realize the power and how to use it and utilize it, and the less we realize that organizing is what makes it happen for strength in numbers, then we get run over and run roughshod by the people who would like us to forget that we have the power, and would like us to forget and not know what we can and should be doing.
All right, I'm going to interrupt here just for a moment. We're actually looking for our next guest here, a North Platte Forsgren, and it's the call failed. We're still trying to get in touch with him, but we're making an attempt.
When you smoke too much pot, kids.
No, I mean, for some reason, we've difficulty getting his to join us. But we do have Kevin Korn here, who's also telling me that he hasn't answered his phone for me either. So maybe there's something going on with him. He's not going to be able to make it on the show. So that's okay. We'll just keep going. Kevin Korn, do you have any thoughts on this at this time?
No, not really. I was actually listening to that discussion. It was going really well.
Let's continue it going.
Well, you know what? My feeling about everything, and I'm beginning to feel, I'm becoming disillusioned with the fact that even two parties actually really exist. And so I'm becoming, I guess, what you would more say when people want to coin, oh, well, when you think like that, then you sound like a conspiracy theorist.
Can there be an insurgent candidate in this day and age? Can somebody honestly come up out of grassroots and rise to the level where they get voted on an independent ticket and they just, ride an upswell of popularity? I don't know who that person could be or what kind of magnetic force they'd be, but I'd like to think that that's possible. Or somebody, getting into the party that is new blood or is a fighter. And, when Howard Dean was in, that was the first time that I really felt like, all right, here's a guy that's, he's trying to kind of Thomas Paine it up and paint a picture. And the whole Dean Scream thing, which was just an audio, isolated mic feed, could have been fixed by an adequate sound guy. It was like the party trashing this insurgent candidate, even though he was not by all means a raving lefty kind of guy. He was a serious doctor. I thought the party kind of squashed him and put in there Kerry. They wanted Kerry in there, the war hero.
Well, I mean, but to me, my feeling is like I'm having a hard time believing any of it. I think our entire social dynamic and our cultural, we are conditioned to see things as left-right, or this party against that party, or that's how our sports are set up. It's one team against the next team, blue team, red team, and I often wonder if this is just a distraction to make us think that we're all involved and all pitted against each other, and yet we're really not having that much somewhere you say that there's a center, or somewhere there's something else happening that
there's a different way to live. There's a different way to imagine society. There's a different way to imagine humanity. But It takes zeitgeist moments and cultural, movements, and it takes revolution, and it takes, giant catastrophes. It takes a lot of things that can suddenly shift everything because the incrementalism sometimes leads this slippery slope the wrong way, and we get incremental.
A lot of people view the 1930s as the closest this country has ever come to a popular uprising. 1930s was a radical time, and it's not coincidental. It was a radical time because people were seeing around them the dangerous results of capitalism. People's lives were being destroyed. And I think we're kind of in a similar space now. When people are complacent in this country, as long as they have a toaster or whatever kind of appliance, as long as there's such a culture of distraction. There's so much bread and circus. Both. I mean, they've got junk food bread and they've got circus 24/7 from every direction. So the idea of people actually sort of coming to their senses and realizing just how horrific things actually are. I mean, it's not until people suffer personally in this country that things start to change.
But they've been suffering, and maybe.
Kevin, you had a thought. I saw Kevin had a little something. What did you say, Kevin?
Yeah, people won't say anything or stand up for anything until it actually physically affects them directly, and that's the biggest issue. And to change it, it would be really hard. Going back to what I think Danny was saying, he was saying that he'd like to see a grassroots candidate who came up on popularity. Unfortunately, it would be almost so impossible to do. I mean, who's going to give them the money, the funding? I mean, it costs money for media, for the TV, for all this, and that's what that's the big sham of it all. Is they tell you, and you have to accept that money, and that comes with other deals. That usually lobbyists. They're going to say, "Well, we'll give you all this money for your campaign, but you're going to do this, and you're going to vote this, and you're going to do this." And right there, they're already tainted because now they can't even make a decision on their own because they have to follow the policy for the money they accept.
Which goes back to the systemic rot of money in politics and goes towards, trying to reverse that process and that trend. And not that I don't know if we can get back to that, to publicly funded elections and whatnot, but it would certainly help to remove as much money from politics as we can.
Yeah.
But what if, I mean, my thought is like, is this even working? I mean, is the two-party system even working? And if we decided not to have it, what would it look like to throw all of that even out?
I think it's working for some people. You know who it works for? It works for incredibly rich people.
The
Right.
Koch brothers.
And that's why it doesn't change. Not just the Koch brothers, but people who give money to both parties.
True.
That's why this is what it is, because people benefit from it. People who are a very tiny minority, but who have a disproportionate amount of money. I mean, look, democracy is one person, one vote. No one person's vote is supposed to exceed the influence of another person's vote. But capitalism doesn't work like that. Capitalism is basically the system we have is $1, one vote. So if I have $1 billion, my say is it's quite a bit larger than someone who doesn't have $1 billion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
I'm jaded. Look, I honestly don't believe anything's going to change in our lifetimes. And if it does, it's going to come. I think it will be too little, too late.
Oh, see, I do.
Personal skepticism.
I do. I do. I mean, and I think a lot of people feel that way. We feel that we can't make any difference, or it's going to only happen in real increments. Sometimes things are like that. Sometimes they go up just a tiny bit, and you're like, geez, I'm getting nowhere. And then you'll see that it'll just go whoosh, and there's a huge growth spurt in something for some reason. And
but that disillusionment is what causes people to not be involved and to not get together and to not care. And if we accept that, then we just accept being downtrodden and being slaves, in effect, in debt, and just working and not making real change happen because we've been led to believe that we can't. And we are so much more powerful, especially in numbers, to just make decisions together and to try to to put a popular candidate up. And I don't know who it would be. Whether it be an older retired person who has nothing left to lose or a young person that's just so, amazing. Justin Bieber is not going to be the dude,
Depends on who's voting.
It does.
I think we could, even if you want to look just at electoral politics, which again I think is more of an empty exercise than a real change-producing process. But even if you look at that in one election, in one single moment, things could at least there could be a radical punctuation of the equilibrium, and someone who's neither a Republican nor a Democrat could take a federal office. But what keeps it in place is, I would say, it's narcissism as much as it's people believing that. I mean, a major part of it to me is people believing that by voting for Democrats, they're enacting change. When I saw Clinton get elected president in 92, and then saw what a sham it was, and saw how the populist spin, the liberal sentiments, how that's really just it's rhetoric, it's branding, it's not substance. When I saw that, how could I think that in 2008 it was going to be any different with Obama? Of course I knew, but I'm shocked that people are shocked that he hasn't been a real alternative.
But it has the same pattern, doesn't it?
Yes,
I mean,
it's the exact same
yeah.
Exactly.
So is it planned? I mean, that's kind of what my question is. I mean, like, why do we keep seeing it twice? It's like an ebb and a flow. We go conservative, this happens, and we get so disgusted, and then some other guy comes in and promises, oh, I'll be good to you, I'll take care of you, I'm the new way, I'm it, and then all of a sudden it shifts. It's the same thing over again, and that's what's really disappointed me.
It's interesting that the Republican Party may have this time finally gone so far off balance and committed, it was practically seditious what they were doing, and by definition was actually seditious what they were doing. But if this impacts the 2014 midterms in a way where Democrats take back the House, it'll be interesting to see for the first time in my existence a president with the last 2 years of an 8-year presidency not be a lame duck and actually get shit done.
Yeah, well, it does seem like that the liberal president, or what we consider to be the liberal president, which our Democrat president, seems to get a lot of resistance, doesn't he?
Yes, there's no doubt about that. But we have had situations where the Democratic Party has controlled the executive office and both houses of Congress, and nothing really changed radically. Now, I understand what Robbie's saying is the last 2 years of his presidency. Again, I think that a lot of people just have too much faith in a party that has basically been, that to me is part of the problem and not part of it. I mean, again, we talked about Richard Nixon earlier. Richard Nixon would be basically on the left end of the Democratic Party today. I'm not exaggerating. That's not mere hyperbole. And you look at this person, these Democrats who get elected president, they would absolutely overtly be considered part of the right in most European countries. These aren't even liberals, much less leftists.
Would you say that Lyndon Johnson could be considered our most liberal president, not because he was so liberal, but mostly because of the policies of JFK that he pushed through finally, in terms of voting rights acts and in terms of, a lot of the social programs?
You know what? We're going to have to take a break here. It's 1:17. We'll get right back on that thought. Robbie, please, let's re-answer the question, and we'll be back with that answer. Stay tuned.
Okay.
You've got a headache, and I've got some strange disease. Don't worry about it. This pill will set your mind at ease. It's called Progenitorivox.
I hope you like it.
It's made by Squat Merco.
Oh, I love it.
It's in miracles, but there are some things you should know.
It may cause agitation, palpitations, excessive salivation, constipation, menstruation, rust-colored urination, hallucinations, bad vibrations, mild electric shock sensations.
But it's worth it for the drugs I need. My disease may not be fatal, but I can ease my fear. I'm taking two $12 bills each day for 50 years. They've spent billions to convince me, so now I realize Progenitorivox beats diet and exercise. I've got insurance, at least for now I do. And if I bought generic, it would cut my costs in two. But I want Progenitorivox, cause I saw it on TV. Those families look so functional, that pays 3 pills for me.
But it may cause deprivation, humiliation, debtors, prison, and deportation. Dark depictions, dire predictions, lifeless scene, indignant inspection. Empty pockets, court dockets, may cause
sockets, but it's worth it for the drugs I need. But it's worth it in Canada. They get this for a song. But it's worth it for the drugs I need.
The opinions expressed in this song are not necessarily those of Spoken Alcohol or its subsidiaries. Gen 4 Box is not available anywhere. Void in Wisconsin. Any resemblance to actual drugs, living or dead, is purely coincidental. Any unauthorized use of your own judgment in the application of Gen 4 Box is strictly prohibited. Gen 4 Box may not be reproduced without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Gen 4 Box may cause drowsiness or restlessness in lab animals. Do not resume sexual activity while operating heavy machinery without consulting a physician. Erections lasting longer than 4 hours. Insert your own joke here. If you experience episodes, you're crazy. If nothing occurs, discontinue use of Gen 4 Box immediately. If symptoms persist, consult your physician. All sales final. Batteries not included.
For the drugs I need.
Education and information. See what all the buzz is all about. It's time for hemp. It's time for hemp.
Now, when it comes to medical marijuana, I have more of a practical view than anything else. I mean, my attitude is that if it's an issue of doctors prescribing medical marijuana as a treatment for glaucoma or cancer treatment, I think that should be appropriate because there really is no difference between that and a doctor prescribing morphine or anything else. I think there are legitimate concerns in not wanting to allow people to grow their own or start setting up mom and pop shops. Because at that point it becomes fairly difficult to regulate. And, you know, again, I'm not familiar with all the details of the initiative that was passed and what safeguards there were in place. But I think the basic concept that using medical marijuana in the same way with the same controls as other drugs prescribed by doctors, I think that's entirely appropriate.
This may sound strange, but I want to pay taxes. See, I don't drink alcohol or smoke cigarettes. I relax with something science has proven is much safer, marijuana. And I want to buy it somewhere that charges taxes to pay for schools and roads, just like alcohol and tobacco. What do you think should profit? Are schools and roads or drug dealers?
Visit the Marijuana Policy Project Foundation at joinmpp.org or call 1-877-JOIN-MPP.
Education and information. See what all the buzz is all about. It's time for hemp. It's time for hemp. Okay, you're coming back.
Okay. We are back on the Time for Hemp Network on iHeartRadio. You're listening to Hollywood Hemptress Hour. In studio with me is my co-host Robbie Jeanette from the band Rudy, also the composer of the theme song and every little bumper piece that you hear on the show. We have Danny Shirago from the band Fuxitos, and also we have Kevin Korn from Hardcore Entertainment. Thank you for being here on the show, you guys. And we also have our board up. I'm going to bring you, Casper, I have to ask you, Casper Leach, this is his network. Casper,
Yes.
That Obama piece, that's really him? Is that really him?
Yes, it is.
Okay, see, I think he sounds high. You know, apparently he didn't have his teleprompter that day. You know what? Seriously, I have to say that. Is it me, or does it seem like he really looks like he's just blasé reading the teleprompter?
Knowing how much he enjoyed it back in his high school days, you don't just forget about that. You don't just lose that love. The Choom Gang and doing roof hits and Intercept and all that. You don't love it like that and then forget about it and shun it. It I think it's always just got a special place in his heart.
Well, I mean, I love that photo of him, where, obviously it's not a cigarette. It's definitely a joint. And do you think, I'm gonna put this question out there to you guys. Do you think that his usage of marijuana, even including Clinton, because Clinton also, I didn't inhale, and he played the saxophone and all that kind of stuff. Do you think that that was an intentional manipulation to get a certain sect of society to actually really vote for them, which would be considered to be a liberal part of the Democratic Party?
To say you didn't inhale, I don't know. I mean, I think that just makes him look like a complete idiot.
Yeah, but he smoked it, and it was kind of, I mean, how far could he go? I mean, like, you have to realize this is like 1990. Then you come to the 2008 election, which is also the Democratic, president, and he's freaking, like, it's openly admitted, and you can see the joint as him as a young man, and yet we've culturally gotten more progressive to go, oh, that's okay, everybody's done it, because everybody practically has done it.
Also, to admit you've done it, then have someone accuse you of doing it.
Well put.
Right, but but I'm just pointing it out that somehow, like, marijuana usage has been used. I think it's been used in a positive way to entice a certain sect of a vote, because I remember when, and this is why I've been thinking about this. When I was on MySpace, I was getting invitations to be involved on the Al Gore Obama ticket before I had even heard of, like, Barack Obama's name. And I have a picture of me dressed up like the Statue of Liberty, with one of my breasts exposed with a marijuana leaf over it, and this was my profile pic. And I found it interesting. Why would I be approached by a presidential, like, look at my profile? How do I fall into this demographic? And it's obvious that we're being data mined on the internet, and everything that we see on our Facebook and on the side of any pages is because of the algorithms and all the little crawlers around picking up, like, whatever we're looking at to bring more of what we're looking at, and that's how it works. So and then I looked at the people that they were bringing on the list, and a lot of them were pot people that they were actually, like, were becoming part of that support. I feel that I have been, like, I was, like, tracked in to get him, because, like, a lot of us in the cannabis community at that time were hoping that he was the president. He was our golden boy to stand by overall legalization. And literally, I've been working on a documentary. I've been, like, me and Dejay, we've had a documentary camera following us around for, like, since that time, since before the election, for Obama's in 2008. And they were going to film our faces watching him become president, with the hope that we had that he was going to do something about this. Not only that, but there was videos that you saw on YouTube where he actually said he believed that it needed to be decriminalized, that the people that were in the prisons for marijuana were supposed to get out, and yet that didn't happen. And I do feel that, part of what's considered to be liberal is, like, a president that promises that we are going to actually have legalization. Does anybody see that, or am I just a lunatic crazy lady talking?
I just feel like countercultural drug-using people would vote for these corporate candidates. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, of course not.
I mean, it'd be a very libertarian thing for them to say you're allowed to, ingest a substance on your own accord and be with your own body and mind.
Civil libertarian.
Indeed. Yeah. But that's I mean, there's the straight libertarian part of that, right?
Well,
I mean, to me, what part of you mean, does your standard libertarian believe in legalization of drugs? Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
No doubt.
Kevin, you were going to say something? I saw your little box light up.
Well, I was talking about, back to, Obama. I think he did run with, and actually pitched it, and, that they were, like, for the legalization of marijuana. And I got it, and you're right, I have to say, over the last 8 years, the whole country's perception of marijuana has completely changed. And I'm not so sure that it's changed, or if they feel more safe to come out and, be openly, like, hey, we smoke pot. Because before, it was always under the table, it was always
It was always going to be a process to get there. It wasn't going to be like it was going to get elected to be like the next day, tomorrow. Although we look back at the undoing of the original prohibition against alcohol, it was like, sign this and let's have a beer, you know? So, the United States' last day in office, Obama legalizes herbs, smokes a big fatty, and walks out the door of the White House.
Good luck with that one. See, actually, I mean, just from a personal standpoint, I wouldn't want to be the first black president and then go down in history as the guy who legalized marijuana as well. I mean, it's like kind of ironic.
No, why not? Why not?
Why not, right? Why not do it?
Well, I mean, it's almost like it would be fun to write a movie script with that as being the scenario.
Anything can happen. I'd rather not be on the day he walked in than the day he walked out, but all right.
Do you? But in my opinion, anything that's happened with medical marijuana basically doesn't have anything to do with him at all. It's all been by the states.
Which is okay. That's a constitutional, right.
But look, that just goes to show you. I mean, this is the part of me that loves anarchism. Real change doesn't really happen on a federal level. Federally, it's too bloated, it's too institutionalized, it's too corporatized. Change happens on a local scale. That's those candidates you talk about, those grassroots, sometimes to get elected. They get elected to local office, sometimes to even gubernatorial office. But it doesn't happen on the federal scale. It just doesn't, and I don't think it's going to anytime soon.
No, I agree with you.
Enough states vote for something, right? Isn't there a constitutional situation that happens when enough states ratify something that it becomes a federal tipping point?
I don't know. You got me there. Well, I mean, I think it's, look at the difference too. Like, you start 8 years ago, like, you look at California and they legalized marijuana and they start opening dispensaries. They were getting their doors kicked in by the feds left and right. People were getting arrested.
Oh, I was one of those people.
Look at Oregon. Nobody is getting even questioned, let alone the letters in the mail.
I mean, the whole reason why I am doing this right now is because I experienced having the gun in my face from the feds and the DEA in a doctor's office, which is in the same building as a medical marijuana dispensary. I mean, it was that realization that I said, oh my God, I can actually vote for something in my state, and when we actually implement what we want, then this is what happens to us, and where is the oppression from the federal government coming over what our state rights are?
Well, at least if you got shot by that officer, you would have been in a doctor's office. That's a good thing about it.
Well, the thing of it was I was so stressed out about it that I called my mom up and I go, I was just in a Rabel and I was talking really, really fast. And she goes, slow down, Terry. And I go, and she goes, you need to smoke some weed to calm down. So, coming up from Mom, I took her advice.
Mom's chicken soup.
Right, smoke your weed. So, now, what, Danny, in your mind, I mean, because what is it that the Democratic Party needs to do to be what you felt that they were when they started?
When they started, they need to legalize slavery, because that's what the party was like when it started. It was basically, a lot of those people left the Democratic. If they really want a better humanity, they should just destroy themselves immediately. I really have very little faith in that party, and I think it's with good reason. They wage the same wars that Republicans do. They engage in the same militarism that the Republicans do. They occupy the same countries around the world that the Republicans do. They're in bed with the same elites that the Republicans are. People need to start seeing past the branding and the spin into the reality of what these parties are. When they get the way to it, now the Republicans, this insane evangelical wing that certainly differentiates itself, but that aside, I mean, there's so much in common between those two.
Is it better to build the new party from scratch, or in essence occupy the Democratic Party by putting new blood in, like the Tea Party put new blood in the Republicans, hopefully for the worse? I'm not a fan, but could somebody do a group of people, or a maverick, a real honest, like somebody you go, holy shit, I can believe in that guy more than anybody. Could they take over in the party and start to rise up and change the makeup of the Democratic Party to become actually more what people, I think, assume it should be, but it never is?
They could, I mean, but it hasn't happened yet. And in fact, you know, a really great book about all this came out a good 40 years ago. Living on the Campaign Trail. And it's interesting to see the way that the Democratic Party regulars, the central power of the Democratic Party, how intolerable even a George McGovern was for them. He got the nomination, but he didn't have the support of his own party. And in many ways, that aspect of the Democratic Party hasn't changed. If anything, it's gotten worse. I mean, the Clinton presidency, for one thing, did a lot to move the Democratic Party. Like I said, not just more firmly entrenched into the center, but to the actual right. I mean, the Democratic Party spouses a lot of actual conservative, right-leaning ideology and policies.
It's true. There's a false middle to the right of center that everybody's focused on left and right, but it's a reality of a false middle to the right of center. But, you know, honestly, when they're...
I agree.
It's in this age, the internet makes things different. Just us connecting now on the internet makes things different. And
yes.
It's a new ball game when people can not just connect, but actually affect things in real life, physical gatherings and stuff. And I know with Occupy, there was a lot of surveillance and people were worried about showing up or colluding and stuff. But like Danny said, when people pour into the streets, when they really do come together and demand change, it's pretty hard to ignore.
Well, I mean, it's happening all over. It happened all over the world. That's I feel that that Occupy, the internet probably had something to do with that. It's like, you know, we saw, you know, people, you know, protesting in Egypt. We saw people, you know, protesting. We've seen them protesting in Spain, and a lot of this stuff is being live streamed through our internet because the regular media is not covering it. You know, I mean, I was involved with Occupy Los Angeles, and I worked in the media department, and one of the reasons why I did it is because of the fact that I saw that our own media was not really showing what was going on. And they used the same things that they do with everything that they did in the 60s. You know, oh, the hippies, or oh, this or that. They use the same lingo, the same insults. I'm like, what? You did that 40 years ago. Why would you do that now and not tell the truth? Well, we don't know what they're talking about. We don't know what they're pointing their finger at. No, we were pointing our finger at Wall Street. We were pointing the finger at the corrupt bankers. We were saying, look, the banks got bailed out. We got sold out. That's what's you know, and, you know, I love the way, you know, the media does not want to admit to themselves that they are participants in it. Those people that we got sold out to are paying their paychecks.
Were you talking about the corporate media? I mean, the corporate media.
I'm talking about the corporate media. Yeah, I'm talking about the papers. It's just, it's what always happens. And I'm telling you something, it's scary being a part of Occupy. You know, I believe that, you know, there was an article that came out that, yeah, they got our cell phones. They did follow us. And you know, when we got busted, because I was there the night that the cops actually, you know, it was raided, basically. And I didn't stay. But I became friends with somebody in the encampment that, you know, it was during the holiday, like, you know, Thanksgiving, you know, was happening. So I went back to my family, and I got a little bit sick, and I didn't go down there. And he kept going, what's going on? What's going on? I go, where are you at? And he goes, I'm at Joshua Tree. And then the second time he calls me, he goes, I'm at 29 Palms. Well, I know that there's a military base at 29 Palms because I performed there. I've done a show there on the base. And so I'm like, oh, he's near the military base. And then, like, when they got raided, I left, and I got a message from him, and he goes, oh, Terry, I heard that you on the radio dispatch that you weren't there, and he goes, I wanted to know if you were okay, or if you were okay, or something like that. But I'm like, what radio dispatch does he know that I'm like? Is he listening to or finding out information about me on? And you know, right before the raid happened, I called a friend of mine, and his mom works for the 1%. And I go, hey, why aren't you here? And he goes, I'm really sick, man. And he goes, let me tell you something. Get out of there. He goes, the president just signed the NDAA bill, and you can be caught for domestic terrorism, and it's not going to be your normal arrest. They're bringing buses, and they're going to detain people differently, and it's not going to be the same. Get out of there. And so I called this guy back who left that message to me. I said, oh, so what radio dispatch were you listening to? And he goes, I didn't say that on your voice. I didn't say that. I go, no, you said it. It's on my voicemail. I go, and you're, what, are you at 29 Palms? Are you at the military base? And he goes, what, you're crazy. I go, no. I go, don't ever call me again. And and my friend, I talked to my friend goes, Terry, I got it, who was from 1%. He goes, you're on the list. He goes, you're on the list. They got pictures of you. He goes, I wouldn't drive your car. And he goes, I changed your hair. I got a freaking wig because I was afraid. I have to look like a drag queen just to like freaking protest for my own country.
Still have hope, ladies and gentlemen?
Well, yeah, I still have hope. And we're going to come right back and we're going to play a song from Robbie Jeanette. We're going to take one more break. And so I realized I'm a little bit minute past.
I hope you like these selections.
But there's all these drugs. Zoloft, Prozac. I want to have one drug encompassing it all. Call it fuck it all. I don't feel anything. I don't want to do anything. Fuck it all. The closest thing to a coma you'll ever be. Fuck it all. I'm sitting here in my own dung. Fuck it all. But the scary thing about drugs like that is they always have some horrible side effect, like may cause artificial insemination. What? What do you mean? Like there's a product called Olestra, which is a very strange thing. Olestra? What is that? You know, it said on the little side of the chips, it said, may cause anal leakage. That's not a side effect. If my ass is going... I think that's an effect, really. I think it's fire in the hole! Bad day! Is it going? How you doing, Bob? Oh, you want to get out of the pool right now? Since 1990, over 9 million people have broken the rules and got arrested for pot. That's more than the population combined from Alaska, Montana, Wyoming, and even Vermont.
You're enjoying the commercials?
I'm loving them.
Okay, cool. I'll leave them up there for you to hear.
In 2005, over 3/4 million American citizens got busted with weed. What burns holes in my tent is 86% were arrested for possession, but I can't believe it's one of those people was me. So what can we do about legalization? Rally around and reform legislation. State our position, make it our mission. Change in the law is what we need. It's time we legalize weed. Chief Greenbud is spouting
what we need. It's time we legalize weed. Yeah, it's time we legalize weed.
You can tell we're coming back. So
Yeah.
seconds.
We are back with Hollywood Hemptress Hour. I love it. It's 1:44 a.m. in the morning, and you are listening to Hollywood Hemptress Hour on Time for Hemp on iHeartRadio. I've got my co-host with me, Robbie Jeanette, from the Foxitos, Danny Shirago, and from Hardcore Entertainment, Kevin Korn, here on the show. Thanks for being here, guys. Awesome. It's a great show. I just want to thank everybody for being here. It's quite enjoyable. Thank you. I'm pleased. So if I don't get to talk to you after we break and end the show, I just want to let you know that now. And thank you again to Casper Leach for playing some great commercials. Very funny. So really appreciate that. So I want to go. This is the portion of the Hollywood Hemptress buzz moment on the Freedom of Joy segment, and so I want to bring a little lightness into it. Robbie, you've written a song that it has my favorite word in it. She loves my penis.
Yeah, well, she's in love with my penis.
Oh, she's loves my penis.
There was a guy I saw years ago, and he played a song called "I Love Your Vagina." And when I saw him do that, I couldn't believe that he did it. He got away with it. And so it got me thinking, and I kind of just pictured this song that a guy could really feel good about his woman having that love for not just him, but his most prized jewel.
Yeah.
His penis. So my band Rudy, we recorded this song, and we played it live for many years, and it's on our Taste the Love record and on iTunes. And love you to play it and give everybody a little smile. We got a video for it coming very soon that we shot a couple months ago in Florida. It's being edited right now, and it's going to be ridiculous. So just imagine ridiculousness when we hear this song.
All right. So we're going to hear it right now.
Excuse me. I think we dropped something. Ladies and gentlemen in the club, you can run me on the floor with a pocket full of bud. She's in love with my penis, and she makes it
I love it. You know, I love the penis. You know,
I
so.
knew that about you.
You know, but I gotta say, when you see it for the first time, it's kind of weird, but you get used to it, kind of like sushi. So.
What about, is that good for tasting or just seeing?
Just, I think it's the whole combination. You know, it's a startling little fellow when you first look at him in the
It's
eye.
hard to get a visual while you're tasting it, though, isn't it?
No, but you know, by then you already know what he looks like.
Well, yes, indeed. I guess for a guy, you're always just used to it being there, but for a woman, if you haven't had any experience with it, and then there's one in your face, it's rather shocking. Like
Well, yeah.
sea creature or the 18-foot oarfish they just pulled off the Catalina.
It's got a little bit of like alien looking. You know, I mean it's you know, if you think about it, it's all kind of crinkly and you know it's a very fascinating thing, though, I have to say. I mean, if it didn't exist in the world, I would be very disappointed.
Well, and so would we. As men, I think, Danny, you and I can probably feel the same about this, that, without our penises, we feel like we're missing something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Alien, I think maybe it was placed there by the aliens who created us, and perhaps they made it in their own image.
There's a monolith on a distant planet in a galaxy far, far away that's shaped exactly like your penis.
And it's squirting semen right now.
Well, or something.
It is so weird how it's used in advertising, though. I mean, just the other day, I reposted on Facebook, I saw it, and they go, this healing, like, fruit, and I swear it was, like, a little tiny little penis, and I was like, no, and I actually, I started laughing, and I go, no, and I put, does anybody see what I see, or am I just really high? And, you know, I mean, some people responded though to that one. Yeah.
Well, some people think of penis. When you think of penis, healing fruit is the term that really comes to mind.
Healing bananas.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, I mean, bananas are my favorite fruit. My family, we have well, of course, you know, it's my sense of humor. But one time I asked my mom, she goes, "What do you want, the orange or the banana?" And I go, "I want the banana." And she goes, "I know why you want the banana." And she like winks at me. I'm like, "Wow, Mom, don't do that during Thanksgiving." What?
This is the same lady who told you to get high, right?
Right. Yeah. But you know what? I'm going to defend her on that. One of the reasons why I mostly do use cannabis is that I'm an anxiety person. And it was really helped me a lot in terms of, other than that, I used to like drink a lot more alcohol and realize that I was like medicating nervousness through that. So I'm much more healthier doing it this way. But one day I figure, like, here's my thought. As we heal ourselves, all of a sudden I'll not be anxious anymore. And when that comes, well, then I'll probably just smoke it when I want to meditate or once in a while or write some great jokes, hopefully.
What strains are particularly good for dealing with anxiety?
Well, I prefer to have a sativa. And I mean that's good for me. I mean, a lot of people think maybe it's the indicas because it's the strain that brings you down, and I probably should maybe smoke more indica. But I guess like my preference is more of a hybrid. So I like a little sativa, I like a little indica. Sometimes if I do too much sativa, it could actually make me feel a little more anxious. Because it's the upper weed, and but I like to smoke it because it's really, for me, I think it stimulates my brain in a good way. In terms, I'm very creative when I smoke a little bit of a sativa. I love it.
According to the government, there is a very good reason for that, and someday we'll all know about it officially.
Someday. And again, like one of the things that we were talking about, and one of those things was, degenerative diseases of the brain that it's really good for. And I feel that there's definitely, I believe there's a correlation in there. I mean, right now I'm living with a man who's 92 years old, and he's having some issues of like, they're trying to figure out why he's like having some memory issues and things like this. And I've suggested. I said, hey, if you smoke a little cannabis, this might actually help you. It's been known to. I met a physician, and I asked him that point. He said I work in Alzheimer's and dementia, and I asked him. I said, there's a study that it's good for dementia and Alzheimer. And he goes, it's right. And he goes, and there's things in cannabis that they can't even, they don't know everything that's in it, that has not been tested or tried, and they're interested in finding out what those things are. So
science will set it free. Science will set it free, and maybe another country will do it before we will and come up with something irrefutable. But already the science is pretty damn good. Good enough for 10 years ago the government to patent.
I still believe that it's America that's actually making the most progress in terms of its legalization than any other state and any other country. I mean, I know in terms of overall what they're doing with it. I think it's America's finest moment, really, in some ways, because it really is the states implementing like our Constitution, our government was really based upon. And I think it's really only the really most progressive thing that's like making sure that's staying into place. I mean, that's just my feeling on it. But you know what? We are at the end of the show. We're actually running a little bit over, so let's just do a quick, a shameless plug. I don't say shameless. That's why part of this is that we are plugging what we're doing, our other stuff. So, Robbie, can you give us your websites and where people can find you and download your songs?
Yeah, Rudy is the band, Rudy. You can find us on iTunes. Got 3 records, Booty, Sexy, and Taste the Love. And we have a website, rudymusic.com, and we're on Facebook. Facebook.com/RudyBand, and we're playing some shows in the Southeast in December, so look out for you if you're in Atlanta or South Florida.
Wonderful. And Kevin Korn, what can you plug for us?
You can check us out at Hardcore Entertainment. We're all over Facebook at Facebook Hardcore ENT, as well as Trips. You can find us on Ustream, as well as YouTube. You can find that at Facebook.com/groups/trip.
Wonderful. And Danny, where can our listeners find you?
They can find me in a tiny hole in a small cave deep in the Nevada desert. No, if you want to check out the Fuxedos online, just go to fuxedos.com. That's FUXEDOS. That'll actually direct you to our Facebook page, and from there you can find many places on the interwebs on which we are located.
And I'm Terry Joyce, and you can find me on HollywoodHemptressHour.com. Also, like us on Facebook at Facebook.com/HollywoodHemptressBuzz. And you have listened to Time for Hemp, Hollywood Hemptress Hour. We're signing out. We're on iHeartRadio. Thank you for listening.
So is that cool? I play a song at the end of your show?
Yeah!
That way, whatever song was played the night before or earlier will also get an extra plug. We'll make sure all your music gets used a lot.
Oh, yeah!
Do you want to listen to it? You want me to go ahead?
Sure!
Okay. Tomorrow night we'll play She Loves You again.
Okay.
Your show now with a song. That way your audience will have to listen in and see what they're going to be jamming out to.
Awesome.
We'll sign off for now.
Sure. Thank you, Robbie.
Yeah, thank you so much, Terry.
That was a great show. Yeah.
I'll go ahead and mute the music so you can chit-chat.
Okay. So thanks, guys. That was really great. Danny, I'd love to have you come back at another time, and if you want to, whatever you're, and also if you have any dates coming up or anything like that, we can definitely plug it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, Danny. I don't know what you're doing Friday night, but if Friday night you're gonna still be, that's the 5th night of the show, right? Terry?
What? Friday night is the last night. Yeah.
Okay, because I might have an early day Saturday, and I was going to say, Danny, maybe if Danny wants to be the co-host for that last night, and kind of continue on in the vein, because there's kind of a natural flow.
Sure.
Just because I've been pushing the sleep issue, and I had to get up this morning with the kid. I'm working on little sleep, so I want to make sure that I don't kill myself.
Sure, I totally understand. Danny, is that something that you would want to do on Friday?
Can I let you know by tomorrow?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Just throwing it out there, and if not, I can, I'll work something out or whatever. But I just wanted to.
Or I mean, honestly, I'm probably 100. I mean, if Danny wants to do it, that's great. If not, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to find somebody. Yeah. So, but yeah. So yeah, that's fine, Robbie. That's no problem.
You rock. I'm having a good time doing it though, and I'll definitely, come on in times in the future too. But tomorrow night I'll be on with you 12 to 2.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Yeah. Well.
And let me know when you start posting on social media, or when you post any of the, the Ustream stuff, or
Okay.
Be good to pass around or tweet it out, whatever.
Yeah, I'll definitely give you all the links for it. So and yeah. That's not, I'm planning on doing that, so we can just circulate everything. I really liked that show. Yeah.
If you hold on just a minute, I'll give you the link to it, and you'll be able to have it right now to pass it out.
Great.
It's posted already now to iHeartRadio. I'm getting ready to add an image to it so that people can go, how freaking groovy is this motherfucker? Nice episodes. And so it's good you're all having fun. We appreciate knowing that. Tara, from listening to your show, I can only assume you're going to have just lots of opportunities to get advertising for this.
Oh, great. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to start to work on that right away. The first thing was just my goal was just to get it up and going.
And that's your money too, right? You understand that, right?
Right, yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. You understood that. That's what's going to help you underwrite the cost of this. Okay, let me post your image, and whatever you need for advertising spots, girlfriend, we'll make sure you got it, okay?
Okay. All right.
See, edit. I'm getting ready to give you the link now. You're going to get a little picture. That's going to get you a nice little marijuana image. Is that cool? You like a little marijuana image?
Sure, that'd be great.
Okay, let's see. Go to my passport and all my art. And let's see, hemp art. And large images. And let's see. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, that's pretty. Wear an American flag with marijuana leaves as the stars.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. That's a beautiful flag too. Oh God, it's gorgeous. There we go. And save. And
care you put into this.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And save. Oh wait a minute, I gotta make the date right because it says the 23rd. It really broadcasted at the top of the 24th. So let me set that again. So now your shit's right for a change. Here at the network is not always that way. We're learning. We're getting it down faster and faster. I can certainly tell you that.
Well, yeah. I mean, this show went really smooth. I mean, so thank you. I mean, that was just.
I'm done.
Yeah.
And they should all be that way. The first one was because I had no clue as to what the hell I was doing. No, it's because I taught Sasha, and then Sasha taught me. It was weird. And he's like 22 and can figure. He understands computers by osmosis.
Uh-huh.
And I don't. So let's see. Shows. Time for him. Here is the link to all the Spreaker shows on the Time for Him. Here, let me give you this link here. You can promote the fuck out of this bitch. There you go. Boom. And then I'll give you the link to just your segment. Alrighty. Hollywood Hemptress Hour fucking rocks. And then here's your. And then I'm also shoving these up into iTunes on my Time for Hemp account.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
Great.
I'm putting yours up, the Time for Hemp Spanish version up, the Time for Hemp French version up, And Al Graham, Canada, will print his up there, and Susan Pelosi's. And so we're trying to help promote everybody's print. So I've got 37,000 people that download each day. And now it's even going up to the roof. Yeah, I think it's even going up to the roof on that. I've got like 15,000 people that follow me on Twitter. It's weird. No, and with this network that we're building, everybody's coming with their own audience. People love Terror. We got Steve Bloom coming. We got Judge James Gray making programming and people like that. So at the end of a couple of months of doing all of our broadcasting, everybody's audience coming to find us. I'm not exact. I mean, I came with 2.5 million people listening to me from the audience I built in the last 5 years on American Freedom Radio. So I came with my own ball of wax as well, so I was able to do this. But so we're all coming with our own fucking audience. And when people, did you like the website?
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Cool. And so you see, I wasn't bullshitting when I said I'd make goddamn sure I was just one of the many people at times that would not be me.
Well, I think it's a great. I love the name. And then the Time for Hemp, because it is time for hemp.
Yes, man. It sure is all around the world, huh, bitch?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what's so cool to people. I don't know if you're aware of this, Derek, but oddly enough, people like Keith Straub and Ethan Nadelman, without even being prompted, they use a word that scares the shit out of me when they talk about what I'm doing. They call it historic because of this message going into the mainstream media, into iHeart, and we're doing it now with on the same network: Spanish, Italian, German, French. So we're bringing the message into the world in every language. And
that's dirty Spanish songs if you want them.
Oh, really?
I'm letting you know that you're a part of something that is apparently, much to my own chagrin, considered by those around us as to what we're doing historic.
Right on. Yes.
Well, Robbie, let me introduce me. I'm the father of marijuana TV. I had the first television series ever in broadcast history about marijuana. Steve Hager, High Times Magazine, pointed that out to me. I had the first community cable access show to debut in an audience market the size of 19 states, 22 cities. And my community cable access show was the first in community cable access and network broadcasting history to go national.
Wow, right on.
And it was the first community cable access show to go international.
That's really cool.
And I had Tim Leary and Willie Nelson on as my guests, and I did all the founders of the marijuana movement back in the day. And so anyway, that's me. That's a little bit of my history. And so that's what comes to this network with people like Tara and I are now raising hell.
Yeah. I think that's good stuff, man. Well, I appreciate what you do, and I'm looking at the stuff you uploaded. It's great. You're a professional top to bottom.
Well, I'm trying. Thank you for noticing. I mean, I really want people, when they get done working with me, feel like they've done a wonderful thing and they've had a lot of fun and they feel loved. And they feel loved. That's the important thing.
Right on. Well, I would definitely hit you up with some music, and we'll do this again tomorrow night, all right?
Alrighty, y'all have a groovy night in paradise.
All right, talk to you later, guys.
All right, bye.
Danny, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm going to go to sleep.
Okay.
Thank you for doing this, Robbie. And it's in the wee hours too, so it's really much appreciated. Thanks.
My pleasure. Good stuff.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
Okay.
See you tomorrow.
Bye. All right. That was show number 3.